by opening the second book of Baruch, the lost Hebrew scriptures, lost writing of the prophets, on page 86 and 87. Let us read. Baruch appears in the Bible only as the secretary of the prophet Jeremiah, and there is no indication that he himself enjoyed prophetic powers. But the Bible relates that Jeremiah dictated his prophecies to Baruch, and that many similar words were added to them. See Jeremiah chapter 13, verse 32. It was assumed that these additions were Baruch's own words, and since they were similar to Jeremiah's, that they were also prophecies. Several ancient texts thought to provide the words that Baruch may have written, the prototype of which is the book of Baruch, or the first book of Baruch, 1 Baruch, in the apocryphal or deuterocanonical books of the Bible, perhaps dating no later than ca. 150 BCE. It contains a lament over the fall of Jerusalem in 587 BCE, a hymn in praise of wisdom and predictions of hope for future. There is also a letter of Jeremiah to the Jews exiles in Babylon, probably written as early as the 4th century BCE. The second book of Baruch also includes a letter to the exiles, but this time from Baruch, who through this letter work is depicted not only as a prophet in his own right, but even as superior to Jeremiah. This work consists of lamentations, prayers, and apocalypse, much of it using traditional material. It begins with an account of Babylonian destruction of Jerusalem in 587 BCE, which in fact reflects the Roman capture of the city in 70s CE, not long before the book was written. The book as a whole is to be seen as the reaction of one pious Jew to the tragedy of 70s CE, written to encourage his people in the face of the national disaster and to lay the foundation for their recovery. It shows parallels with rabbinic writings, especially 2 Esdras, see page 94, and Pseudo-Philo, see page 68 to 71, which reflect the same background and general period. It is notable that 2 Baruch shows no trace of Christian influence. The author of 2 Baruch displays a particular concern for the Jewish temple, destroyed in 70s CE. The text states that although the earthly building has gone, it will be preserved in heaven. Angels remove its sacred objects for a future restoration, a variant on the tradition that Jeremiah had hidden them. See 2 Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 4 to 8. Baruch then undertakes 3 days fast. After the first fast, he utters a moving lament for Jerusalem. See extract opposite. After the second, he has a dialogue with God, which raises the issue of theodicy, divine justice, specifically why God tolerates the existence of evil. And the third is followed by a typical apocalyptic vision of 12 disasters before the coming of Messiah, the resurrection of the dead, and the last judgment. Next, Baruch warns the people about the coming disasters, the divine judgment, and God's immutable purposes. The seer receives 2 more visions and an explanation of the mysterious things that he has seen, following the pattern of the book of Daniel. There follow further teachings to the people before the work ends with Baruch's lengthy letter. This was probably once a blessed is he who was not born. No, it is said this was probably once ultimately meet with judgment. Sorry. No, I'm wrong. Let us continue. We have to continue here. This was probably once a blessed. Why? This is one. No, there is something wrong. Why? Okay. This is once a separate document, but its contents show a second focal concern of the author, the primacy of the Jewish law, which the exiles are urged to obey. The work displays signs of triadic structure. Baruch has 3 visions, addresses the people 3 times, and embarks on 3 fasts. Of particular interest are the 3 sections consisting of a dialogue between Baruch and God. Okay. They are dominated by the author's profound awareness of the power of evil, the corruptibility of the world, and human mortality. The first dialogue concerns the problem of theodicy as it presented itself to the survivors of the Roman destruction. Had all God's promises to his people come to nothing? A heavenly voice tells Baruch that Israel has been punished because of its sins. So, I read again. Had all God's promises to Israel come to nothing? A heavenly voice tells Baruch that Israel has been punished because of its sins, but that God will forgive his people. The Gentiles will ultimately meet with judgment because they do not recognize that their present prosperity is a sign of God's blessing. But this answer does not satisfy Baruch, who, perhaps echoing Genesis 18, points out that Jerusalem should have been spared for the good deeds of the righteous and not destroyed on account of the evil deeds of the wicked, implying that God has acted unjustly. Baruch recognizes that mere mortals cannot understand God's judgments, but he still goes on to complain that although the righteous who die can do so in the hope of eternal life, those still alive are suffering. He reaches the gloomy conclusion that while the world as it is remains, Israel, for whom the world was created, has vanished. In reply, God denies that the divine decrees are unknowable. They have been revealed in the books of the law. So, people have no excuse for disobedience and fully deserve their punishment. Second, the righteous who struggle in the present world can be assured of a glorious reward in the new world, which is to come. The issue of this new age is taken up in the second dialogue. Baruch meditates on the misery and brevity of present existence and asks how long this sorry state will continue, pleading with God to hasten the time of the end. God replies that he cannot change the end time, which must wait until all those whom he has foreordained to exist have been born. But God promises that the end is very near, because Baruch and his companions will see it. The third dialogue focuses on the question of the resurrection of the dead, a doctrine which had developed in Judaism in the late period, BCE. Baruch asks whether the resurrected will retain their mortal bodies with all their imperfections. God says that there will first be a general resurrection in the earthly body of all the departed, but then he will divide the wicked from the righteous. The wicked will be sent back to the realm of death, but the righteous, those who have lived by the law and its teachings, will be transformed into angelic beings and be made like the stars. This concept is found in a number of other writings. Then we have from the second book of Baruch, chapter 10. Blessed is he who was not born, or he who has born and died. Blessed is he who was born. From the second book of Baruch, chapter 10. Blessed is he who was not born, or he who was born and died. But we, the living, woe to us, because we have seen the afflictions of Zion, and that which has fallen Jerusalem. I shall call the sirens from the sea, and you night demons come from the desert, and you demons and dragons from the woods. Awake and gild up your lamps to mourn, and raise lamentations with me, and mourn with me. You farmers, sow not again. And you, O earth, why do you give the fruit of your harvest? And you, heavens, keep your dew within you, and do not open the treasuries of rain. And you, sun, keep the light of your rains within you. And you, moon, extinguish the multitude of your light. For why should the light rise again, where the light of Zion is darkening? Henceforth, do not speak any more of beauty, and do not talk about gracefulness. You, priests, take the key of the sanctuary and cast them to the highest heaven, and give them to the Lord, and say, guard your house yourself, because, behold, we have been found to be faith stewards. The prophet Baruch is depicted in decorative initial E, the letter E, that adorns the opening of the book of Baruch in the first printed book produced by Johannes Gutenberg in 1455 or 1456. Now, from the second book of Baruch, chapter 21 to 23, Baruch prayed, "How long will corruption remain? And until when will the time of mortals be happy? And until when will those who pass away, and until when will those who pass away be polluted by the great wickedness in this world? Therefore, command mercifully and confirm all that you have said that you will do, so that your power will be recognized by those who believe that your long-suffering means weakness." A voice was heard from on high, which said to me, "Baruch, Baruch, why are you disturbed? Who starts on a journey and does not complete it? When Adam sinned and death was decreed against those who were to be born, the multitude of those who would be born was numbered, and for the number a place was prepared where the living ones may live and where the dead may be preserved. No creature will live again unless the number that has been appointed is completed. Truly, my salvation has drawn near and is not as far away before." Then we have Baruch and the survival of Judaism. Baruch and the survival of Judaism. Let us read. The importance of the law is repeatedly stressed throughout to Baruch, but it is most fully developed in the letter to the exiles, which forms a program for the survival of the Jewish people after the calamity of 70 CE. Baruch assures his audience that ultimate vindication is certain, but only at the time God wills. Until then, the people must live in perfect obedience to the law, not neglecting it as their ancestors did. This anticipates the situation after 70s CE, when, under the direction of the rabbis, the law became the heart of Jews' religious life, replacing the temple and its sacrifice system. As Baruch writes, "We have nothing now apart from the mighty one and his law." The author is clearly in touch with rabbinic Judaism, and it has been suggested that he was one